So this is a Unit 8 activity, personal art exhibition. So my artist statement is that I prepared several pictures from the period of time that I took the digital photography class, and I was inspired by having the chance to take and express how I see the moment of anything beautiful, like a sunset or anything like that. And the images are in the order of the course from unit 1 to unit 8, so you can see my improvements over the time, and I'll continue to improve. So the first series, the end of the school series. Here you can see some grandfathers, two of them. There are more, but I didn't include all of them. And as you can see, this grandfather will be the topics, and like will be the subject, because he has a white hat standing out from everything except for the wall, but the wall doesn't really matter. And he's also in the middle of the picture, so this is why he's like my subject here. And this is why I named the photo a grandfather waiting for their children in the shadow. And so I used the technique of a diagonal composition. So you can see from top to the bottom, from top left to bottom right. Not exactly, but you can see the general shape. And I also used 1 point perspective. Uh, yeah, 1 point perspective view. So you can see like the lines going in. And I feel like this expresses a chill and slow mood in the hot summer, because they're just having a seat waiting, waiting for time to pass. This is like the grandfather in the lakes, where not in the lake, in the parks, like beside the lakes usually, just having some fun with some random stranger, which is like who's also old, and they will just play chess, you know, and there will be a lot of like other grandpas, hanging together and just playing chess together. This is like a really slow pace lifestyle. This is what I want to express. And I'm not sure if this happens in like other countries, but it happens here. So I included this one because yeah, they are waiting for their children to, so that they can pick up them and get back to their house. I'll explain this later. So as you can see, here is empty buses waiting to send the children home, exactly like its name. So I used perspective, 1 point perspective as well. You can see the line going through the middle, and I choose this image because out of all the images, this is the one that there's a student who's popping out, so you can see, hey, oh, this is actually um, a school bus. It's not exactly a school bus, but this bus actually works like a school bus. School bus. So since like they're waiting right in front of the class, like the school, and they're just like here for a really 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 long time. So I can take several pictures, and I got this one. So I used it to like emphasize the time it takes to wait for them, because usually buses just stop and go, but this bus or these bus, as you can see, there's more numbers behind, so there's more than one bus. This bus waited for the kids for quite a long time, at least a few hours. At that time, I took the picture. So this is what I want to express, and you can see like the shadow is not exactly really late here, so it's quite bright and quite hot in the summer. So this is also trying to emphasize the time lapse of time. So here's an elementary student here walking home in the distance. So I use color contrast, as you can see. This is gray, this is dark, this is light, to express and create the pass of time. So from the morning to almost the night to like later time, at least it's darker, right? So light to darker, and then now you can go home. I included this image because here's the like an example of a student walking home, kind of quite lonely, and I want to express like the shift of time, as you can see from that to that. And I took this picture because I wanted to make like a perfect a third composition, which is what I used. And This is like close, mid, and far, or maybe you can call this mid. So like to create a depth, practicing my photography skill basically. And I included this because yeah, you see. So now we move on to my natures series. So here you can see a single flower growing in a bush without light. By that I mean a big bush about uh, a few meters long and a few about 2 meters wide, and the height is about to my chest, so that's about a meter and 30 centimeters, something like that. And so I used like aperture to create the view of steps, so you can ignore the very top of the bush. And so since the flowers at the very bottom of the bush, you can't really get any sunlight. So as you can see, I blocked these two because they're dead. So I don't want you to focus on them. I want you to focus on this. But there's some color here and there to call and respond to this flower. So it's quite nice, and I think it expresses the will to live because it's hard for them to live in a place without much sunlight. But these kind of flowers, they have a really strong will to live, even in stone cracks. So a branch with a blossom of some sort of flower. This one is also a part of the nature because it's a tree or something like a flower plant-ish. So this I used aperture and contrast in color to emphasize the beauty. So you can see dark and light. Actually, contrast in light, but basically the same thing to me. And the aperture make you focus on the flower and not the background and anything that may distract you. And I think this emphasizes the beauty of nature because this is just a random flower I found on a random tree by a random road, and by that it already looks so great in a picture. So nature is actually really beautiful designed. So here is the blossom of some sort of flower. I'm not sure what flower this is. This may be a cherry flower blossom, but I'm not exactly sure if this is a cherry blossom because I cannot recognize exactly what this flower is. But I use aperture to create depth, so you won't focus so much on the uh, buildings behind and focus on the flower. And then I use this theme, this color theme to express happiness and hope. By that, which I mean, you see, we have a light blue background, and this light blue background is not like the sadness light; it's the hopeful light, like a skyish light. This is the sky actually, but you don't see any clouds. And also the reddish pinkish is a warmish color that can give you hope, and the nature green color is always hopeful, like a sprout of a plant, after the flooding of the world. Things like that, you get it. This is actually imagery with a Christian meaning. So this is bonsai. Bonsai is a Japanese word to express flower in a pot, but artistic flower in a pot, I guess. You can't really call this artistic except for this one. This one looks quite artistic, but those you don't really see much sign of a bonsai. But since they're all basically bonsai, it basically means flower in a pot, but more artistic way of saying it. So I say this is all bonsai then. So I used aperture to create depths, so you can feel like, hey, I am in a forest or something. Which you can see the background is really lit, so you can see that this is not in a forest or anything like that. And then I wish to express the human feel of nature without actually stepping into one. So this is how people try to get closer to nature and the feel and the vibe to it. And I choose this one because even though it's not exactly nature, but this is still natural things like still plants. So they belong to part of my nature collection, my nature series. And lastly, the city series. So here is an image that I talked about in my unit 8 in a broadcast. This was the image of a traffic police, um, commanding traffic because the light sometimes the light is not as efficient as an actual man, solving problems here and there. Maybe they get stuck, they can't move because they're turning left or something like that. And so I named this a guy hurrying in the golden period of traffic. So he's hurrying home. I caught this in really, really luckily because I took many pictures and this one was the best one that I took. Although there was like a fast food guy with like a yellow shirt as well who passed a bit earlier, but I failed to take that picture. If I do, that'll be really great. There'll be a call in yellow, 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 yellow. So from like the far to mid to close, that would be the perfect picture that I would take. But here I used color contrast and a half composition. As you can see, I divided the photo by half using this bridge. And then up there is like all hopeful and city-ish style, and down here is all of this traffic and all of these people. Well, it's not exactly, can't really see them, but all of these people. And then over here is all empty, so crowded, empty, and I'm not sure how to say this, but this is hopeful. So you can see the stress and tension in this. I really like this picture. This is also something I took in the period for like the assignment for Colin Tunes, which is quite late the in the course. You can see my improvements from like my first picture that I showed you. And so I wish to express the warmness of home and the meaning of life, since he is definitely going home, and they are all definitely going home. This is a sunset, and then I want people to feel the taste of modern city lives, because these things happen like traffic, people going home, going to work, happens every single day, and just tasteless and you know the same kind of repeating things you do every single day. Is that the meaning of life? This is like a question I want to ask people through this picture. And I included this because it's part of the city. And here is the early day of modern life. As you can see, this is quite hard to tell what time it is, but it is in the morning, about 6 or 5 a.m. I forgot when. But yeah, as you can see, the sky is already lit, but the alley is still dark, and there's still light and still stuff all going on here. And I am really lucky to capture so much red all over the place to like have like a far call and respond to like closer red and farther red and mid range red, which is really really nice. And then I use color light contrast. As you can see, here's really bright, here's dark, and that place is bright again. And basically this triangle is shape is dark, and so other than that is bright. And I use a 3-point perspective. As you can see, this is slightly moving to the middle, so it's going up and the left and that way. So you can see a 3-point perspective view, which I am really also really proud of. And I wish to show the mood of blurriness in the fresh morning. I actually did added a little bit of this picture to make it feel like more moody. As you can see, the gloom around the light. So you can see like, hey, people haven't exactly wake up from the morning yet, and by the morning, I know, feel is coming right in to like the life. So this is one I want to express through this picture. I choose this one because this is part of the city, and it's just no one because of course it's really early in the morning. And that is it. Thank you very much.